Well, thank you for calling. Thank you for calling. It's like I'm on the phone because we are talking about the called God. And if you have stopped by now, yes, we are calling each other. We have called each other. We have called each other's presence or present. I'll say present because present is that gift. We are calling on each other's gift right now. And this is really truly wonderful. It's like the God who made man in his own image and likeness. Of course, the word own is actually the word won. So he won the contract from the gods, for the said God, Mother Eve. And then, of course, but Mother Eve knew that she was present. How was she present? Because with the word own, I've done this and I'm doing this so it sticks with us. And that's the reason why the word own and won, but Mother Eve was now, because she was the serpent in the Garden of Eden. So the serpent was there. And in that, of course, he won. He won because Mother Eve had said, "Let us make man in our own, in our image, after our likeness." Well, he owned that, so she gave him the deeds, here in the contract, but he won it. There's O, but she was now. And there is the present. So the serpent was present. The word serpent is also present, synonymous. I could say they are synonymous. Present is the same letters. And of course, when there is a serpent, how present can you be? That's what it's about. Okay. So we have been talking about, I just spoke about the word alive. Mother Eve is really all live. So to be alive, as I just did, which equals 22. And of course, 22 reminds me about Sarah, the story of Sarah and Abraham. 22 showed up quite a lot there as well, because 22, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 is foundation. Now, isn't that what knot is about? Remember, I've just showed there were 2 knots. And of course, if we really want to solidify or secure something, we don't just put 1 knot, we put 2 knots. And that's what creation was about as well. We see, of course, the idea of two, the word two, TWO. I've got words on here. Do forgive me that I am not really rubbing out. I don't want to have to go over this word again in my head concerning this. I mean, that word. Okay, so we have 2, 5, and 6. So we can see where that 2 is in comparison with the word 1. So there were 2 sets of creation. There were 2 sets of, you could say, 2 sets of creation, yeah. 2 sets of 7 gods. 2 sets of it was 2 sons with Adam and Eve. 2, we heard of Ishmael and Isaac. With Abraham, the 2 that were going to be fathers of many nations. They both were very reputable. So we see 2s when Noah in the ark was told to take the animals in by 2s and 7s. But if you follow my presentations, you will see that 7 is also 2. When we do the numerical value for the word 7, that also equals 2. So 2 is very, very, very profound, very dynamic, where we think it's just an even number, but it still is very dynamic, and you wouldn't even think that it has a relationship with 3, but actually 3 is also 2, because when we do the numerical value for the word 3, it equals 11, and 11, of course, is 2. 9, 11, okay? Because of course 11, the word 11 now gives us 9. So that's why I'm putting this in. So this gives us 13, just as not. Now the word not, Again, we have the spirit of sound mind. When we are using our language, it's like we have come to a collective agreement for the sake of our evolution and understanding. We'll ignore the not. It is something to not pay attention, or it only has a significance when we want to look at the opposite. So basically, not is giving us, it's pivotal to the opposite of whatever we think is. That's it. So not actually equals 13. So it also gives us the representation of this, because actually when we have got, I have done this in several presentation, we know that when we say not or zero, we call it zero. In fact, I think 0 equals 8. That is interesting. I think it does. So I'm going to have to rub this off. Wow. I really believe, come on board, that's the called God. Call whatever you want into being. Now, clean board. You know, I'm using a lot of energy here to have this space. Okay. So, 0. This is 0. Let's do this. This is 6. We have not in the 0. And of course 9, which is saying that's its beginning. And of course end, it's like the 0. This is wonderful. So 0 is not, which we are. With the 6 here, we are not. This is why you hear some people say, we are nothing. What are we? Nothing. Yeah, that's when we go into our nothingness state. We are nothing. Not an insult to our creator at all, but we go back into nothingness. So this is the nothingness. We were created on the 6th day, the number of man. And the R here, which represents the R, remember, record, replenish, report, reduce, whatever, all this this is telling us we are moving into another cycle. And this, of course, is beginning. The word beginning equals 9, and the word end equals 5. So E, of course, is for end here as well. And that's Mother Eve right here. Of course, the last letter of the alphabet, which is 8. Okay, so there we are, 15, 20, 28. So 28 is 10. 10, of course, if we did the numerical value for 10, that would give us 3. So basically, 3 in this sense of, well, 3 would give us 2, and of course 2 would fall in line with this 0 or the not in this sense. But let's not go too far with this. But there is that path, of course, because we are dealing with the serpent. That's what is important for us to remember. Mother Eve is the serpent. Mother Eve is Satan. Mother Eve is the said God. So we are seeing that the serpent is not just like this rod of Moses. In fact, the rod of Moses became a serpent to show us that it's also Mother Eve right there. That was Mother Eve. Oh yes, Mother Eve was playing this game, you know. Okay, so I've said that alive actually, which is 4, is coinciding. This is where Mother Eve is live, and my main thing was to say that it's all live, it's all Eve. So IVE in this sense to me is also Eve, which would be 9 plus 5 is 15 plus 4 is 19. So that would take us to the whole spectrum on the sacrifice template right here. Let's show you. on the sacrifice template of numbers 1 to 9. This is what we are meant to do. This is what Mother Eve was showing us to do, how to live this pattern of this 369 369 369 template. I know all Mother Eve looks a little bit busy. Her chicks are with me and I as well. So I have been doing presentations on me and I. So let's just give her some blue chicks here for now. Okay, so back to number 8. Now, I wanted to really show that how number 8 from the 15th of May 2018, which came to, I've got to keep doing this, 15, May was 5, 2018, which is 9265. Adding these together, that's 11, 16, 22. Okay, so this is 4. Okay, right. So 22. Just double check. I know it's a 2 year. That's 2 plus 7, 7. And this is how I did it before, actually. So I had it as a 2 year because it's a 2 year. 9 plus 2 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. And I'm just doing it because we see how the number 13 is consistent. So 7 and 6 is 13. So this is what we see. This year is an incubation year. It's serving as an incubator, and we know that with Uranus in the second, which reminds me of second, the word second. Okay, the word second actually is 6. Okay, it equals 6. So basically, the second year, we are, should I say the second year? It's this year, and it's the 7th year as well. For the next 7th year, we know that we believe, or astrologers told us that Uranus is in the second house for the next 7 years. There's it's taking a little break, and that's another thing. We see that it's taking a break from Taurus, which coincides with the story of Christ as well, when Christ said to his disciples, whenever you break this bread, remember me. So basically, we see the break. This is the B word we are talking about. And Christ too was of 13, where he had the disciples, the 12 disciples, and Christ would be 13. So we see there is a strong relationship happening there. However, back to this here we are seeing in this 13 that we are moving into is coinciding with Mother Eve's 8 Latins. The 8 Latins of Mother Eve, which is let there be light. It's on here. Let there be light, let there be a firmament, let the waters from the heavens, and so on. But it's where she says, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Us, of course, the word us, US, is 3-1. And we can see this is the us that we could say is the end of a cycle, like the end of a month. The end of the month, because actually I believe that there are 7 months that ends with 31. So we can see how this 7 is coinciding here with this cycle as well. So Mother Eve is calling us to create man in our image after our likeness. 31, of course, mirrors 13. Now, the other thing to see about how 8 has been appearing, there's a lot going on with 8. So we had first of all, we had the one who created man in his own image and likeness, of course, was he. It was he. We forgot that he is also a derivative or of she or her, her, or she. She also is he. Whatever stories we have been given, because in her is also the symbol of E, which equals 5 for end, and R also for beginning. So there's a cycle here. And she, of course, here we have HE as well. So that would be 13. Of course, HE is 13. But when we have S here, for instance, we are dealing with directly with Mother Eve. Okay, so there we are talking about this 13, which is part of her and she, and of course, this is the part of her and she that created man in his own, and he created, so he created, or God created, and he made him. So whether there was a God and there was also a him, this is all to show us something, how Mother Eve is really so creative. Okay, so and he made him. So the point. So of course with 8, we see, I'm just really trying to get my thought here with 8. So 13 is 4. We have done this, and we see with the word 8. Why are we calling 8 here? Because this is 8 here. Because God equals 8. God equals 17. 1 plus 7 is 8. So this is why we are now looking at EIGHT, doing 5, 9, 7, 8, 2. This is 17, 26, 31. 31. This is what we are talking about here. So we can see the consistency of how 8 is also 4 when we add these together, or how 2 we see is 4. We see how 2 is 4. We see how not is 4. So basically we see the formula here of how not is also 4, and 4 is also 8. So we can see how not here, this not is God. Not is God. This is the tool that we have been given through numerology to come to this sum. So 8 is really, like I say, you can imagine you have a cord or a rubber band. Just throw it on the table, it gets twisted, looking like an 8. I see it all around on the ground, and there seems to be a tendency. It's as if those rubber bands that I always see looking like 8, as if they have a sense or a brain that makes them form like this, and an intelligence, basically. So 8, we see, is really, 8 is 31. 8 is 4. So basically when we do this endure the month, for instance, that has 31 days as well. Days, DAYS. This is why Mother Eve said the days are for signs and wonders. So signs and seasons. So they were created for signs and seasons. 1 or years, and something to that effect. So 1, 4. Add this together, 9 plus 4 is 13. So we see there are 2 13s here. This is why this is coinciding with Mother Eve's 8 cycle right here. She has the 8th cycle where we are called to create man in our image and our likeness. She has called us now to teach us or to get our attention to say, well, what kind of qualities am I attributing to this new man? What kind of qualities am I going to leave on this earth when I depart? What is my mark? Just like when we come here, we find things that we like or dislike or whatever it is, or things that we are part of the creation. We are creating, we are constantly creating, but Mother Eve wants us to be conscious of what it is we are creating. And we see that these numbers here, which is 13, and just like Uranus as well, equals 22. I believe, just checking my brain, my memory, for the sake of it now. Uranus. And this is us, Mother Eve is calling us. This word, for instance, it's a small word, but it is everything, as we can see, because it is 31. And 31, of course, is the cycle of 8. This is 8 here. So you ran us, you ate, you ran it, whatever, you run it. That's what we're going to have to say to Uranus. And it's the U. We have 2 U's here, which forms that W, or the 3, or E, or M, and forms the 8-petal flower. So that's these are things for us to pay attention to. So let's see. This is 5193. Of course, this is 4, 9, 10, 19, 22. I have a splendid memory. So these are not by chance. These are really perfection of creation right here. These are things for us to really pay attention to and think about. How is it that the month or the date 15th of May comes to 22? Yes, we had that, which is 4, but I also added it like 13. And Uranus actually is 22. There is a message about this 22, the master number of 4. And there's another thing about 4, actually. In fact, I have something to do. 20, when we do the word 20, it gives us 26, actually. I know this. And at 26 is 8. And 2, of course, gives us 13, which is 4. Of course, that would be 12. And there we have that free vibration. We see about 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 now goes back to the word 3 is actually 11, which is 1 plus 1 is 2, which takes us back to, if we added 11, 11 is here, adding 5 plus 6 is 11, but also gives us this 2, where we come into agreement with Mother Eve or with whoever it is. There's the B here. But 2 also, as we have seen, this is 4. Now, we are really here now, those of us who are in the 5th and 8th dimension. And now, in fact, it's not even all, but there's a message here, which is what I really want to deliver, a message here for people with the 8, with 8 as the life path number. That's the eureka that I had while preparing myself and Mother Eve. Of course, it was really like I'm questioning this, and the answer, well, it's yes. So basically, people with the life path number, which is 8 of 8, and that well, it's not even just those of 17, because then you are basically at a place of seeing you have gone through headquarters zone. There's the 3 C's, like I did. 3 6's here is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. So you have done an end and a beginning right there. And of course, with the E here, you had really completed. Basically, the 9 is where you do your inland revenue thing. I hope if you're new to this, I have got a video called Introduction to Crime a Queen, so you will understand the language that is used in this template. But basically, we are here. In fact, I did 3 C's of the gods doing their letters, which we had 8 showing up again. This is what we call headquarters zone. And it's really telling us here, of course, you are not just 6 as you saw yourself, like diving in the ocean. You're a man, but you have now managed to dive or to rise up to the surface, and you have become 8. This is what you ate. You ate of the tree of good and evil. You ate of the fruit of knowledge. You now can say, I know, I am God. Because with 8, you are on this equal. This is 17, you are God. And of course, how we know that not is also God, as I say, there's a simple thing that we can see this 8 as the not right here, but we also have done this. The word not right there with the 0 or not in the middle of it is really also teaching us here that we have this 13. This is when you have gone in the ocean, like I've just mentioned, and you have rise up to the surface, because the ocean is Mother Eve as well. You have made an agreement, you have understood, and you have bonded with that knot. You have become that knot. You see yourself as not. This is why people are saying, oh, we are so fragile when they have gone through a trauma or something. Oh, we are not. We are nothing. So this is the rubber band that has taken the shape of the B, just to remind you that you have a bond with the knot. You have shaken hands. You have breathed all the B words here. So we can see now how 13, there's another thing I wanted to do, because I believe that the word 13 is 23 or 28. Okay, I'm looking at the time. So the word 13, THIRTEEN, I'm just going with the flow, and I know I have done this before. I do not remember what it is, but there we are. Let's just see what message is here. 10, this is 26, 35, 45. So 13 is 9. So basically that 13 in this sense, of course, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. 13 is showing us that it's 9. So here we can see, as I often, okay, 13 is the beehive here, and we have 6, okay, we have 9. It's not what I thought, but I was thinking of the 9 as 13, but the beehive here, B is 4. Of course, this is correct. So let's go over this as well. So we have, just to double check, 9 and 13. Okay, so 13, 1 plus 3 equals 4. This is 4. We have this as 4. let's take this off. This is actually 4, but I've done this symbol here so we can get our orientation of our north, south, east, and west. And the letter above equals 9. So 13, which equals 1 plus 3, that is 4. And here we have 9. So 13 is 9. It's just that whatever we do, when we are on the right track, of course, the gods show up. They show up to really give us the full meaning of whatever it is that we are meant to be seeing. Okay, which is also the incubator, because we have the word incubator, which equals 4. So basically, 13, God is the incubator. And who is God right here as well, when we have seen that he, of course, he equals 13. The word he equals 13, which is attributed to the male. However, as I say, we need to remember that the male came from here or her, and the male is here. So so we could look at this, we can debate how we want to about this, because here, for instance, this would be 8, 5 plus 9, adding this together, this is 14 and 22. So this is also 4. Her is also 4. And here, he is 14, which is of the 14 gods here. Okay. And that would be 5. So Mother Eve is 5. This is the serpent. 1 plus 4 is 5. And this is the serpent here. And her, of course. And so whoever, of course, there's no, I don't know whether there were spiritual laws, of course, who gave the titles to, of he to whatever. It doesn't matter. But as we have learned that they were female, and of course, for instance, it makes sense if you were only female in the land, for instance, and there was a new species, they would have to adopt from the language or factors or functions that already exist. So there we go. Okay. Now, I feel that there was something else to really point out. This Eureka that I really got, I felt it was very powerful. I hope that I have really delivered it in a way, because what I just really want to show how 8, the symbol of infinity, is telling us that we have touched that sphere, or as a life path number of 8. If you have the life path number of 8, then you have consolidated the gods in you, or you have come to a place of understanding, or you ought to come to the place of understanding the functions of the gods in you. Now, you may not relate to them in the way I do, or of course, because we all have our purpose, but it's really saying that you have graduated in your ascension. And here we have, for instance, we did all the numerical values for the gods here, the gods of Genesis chapter 1, and that's not adding the other gods yet. But we did see, adding these gods together, we had a total of 40. So that's 4. And then we did the numerical value of the gods here in the name form or word form of the numbers, like 2, for instance, which is 13 and 4. So we see we have got a pattern here. And when we added these numbers again, we had a total of 40, so which is also 4. I'm just going to do a quick check on here. This is 17, 18, 19, 19, and of course this is also 19, so that's 20 plus 2 is 22. 2 plus 2 is 4. So this is what we have here. Now, Another thing that happened here, let's see, we have the 9 gods here. We see that we had a pattern of the numbers here, which is 19 here and 19 here. So it's like saying that we had these 2 cycles of 1 9 1 9 1 to 9, like on the sacrifice template. I hope you get what I'm saying here. But this is really, again, for us, we see that it coincides with 31. Of course, it coincides with the God, or the he God, or when God created man and he created he him, he created he them, he created male female. There were distinctions of that which was created. Now, of course, how we get into this is really through numerology. Helps us to really see clearly what is happening here, or what has happened. And okay, I won't go on much longer because but I will revisit this as well, because I think it's interesting for people who particularly for people who have got the life path number 8. Okay, so of course, it's not to say those who are with other numbers, because we see there's another thing that I remembered as well with the story of Jesus Christ. For instance, of course, the word Jesus Christ equals 7. And of course, taking his ascension, there was another cycle. So this is the 7 that coincides with the 7 year that we are now in. At the end of that 7 year, there is a new cycle. And of course, we have completed a 7,000 year cycle as well. So there is lots going on. And this is the era that we are, that coincides with Mother Eve, the 7 Latins, but on the last one, she says, let us make man. This is where she invites us into creation, or creating. It's not let there be. She's cast a spell, but now she said, let us. There is the invitation. It also coincides with the 7 or 8 beatitudes. The beatitudes as well, to 7, and we find the 8th one is where the language changes. Of course, I hadn't spoken much about the language. Just like in Mother Eve, there's consistency from 1 to 7, and like Christ, there's consistency from 1 to 7. Blessed are blessed are is consistent, or blessed are the word the, of course, which is derivative from the word or they, but the THE is also consistent in the teachings of Christ with the Beatitudes, like it were with that of Mother Eve, which is let the, from part of let there be, but the word the is consistent to 7 of the entries. So it'd be interesting. I'm just going to move the camera so you can see this. So basically there is well, I hope you can now, let the, and with Christ now is blessed be, and the words. So they're numbered down. Okay, so there we are now. back to me. Okay, and so I'm hoping that you get the essence of what we're doing here is really finding. I really believe that according to the sacrifice template, we will know where we are at according to our life path number. And I think that is really going to teach us a lot, because now we can see as the life path number 8, if you are at the life path number 8, of course, this is where we go back to. You are 8 here, and of course, you go back to this 4. We can see how I've been talking about 4 or 13 becomes 8. It's the one and the same headquarters zone, and we are like fine-tuning or developing here, but there are more messages, which is going with Eve here. There are more messages according to Mother Eve for the life path number 8 individuals. So thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found this fun, because it's all about fun as well, or delicious. In my case, it's often deliciousness I seem to get from these. I'm doing every presentation as though I were eating a fruit. Okay, so thank you. Let there be light, and there was light. Words of the said God, Mother Eve. Okay, and let's remember that we are about planting new seeds. Planting new seeds, this is where we are created in God's image and likeness.